The Royal Purple Hot Hatch Series and the Demon Tweaks Yokohama Stock Hatch Championship have their final race of the season now. It's a split grid with the Hot Hatch cars going first. Red lights go on. Out they go, and it's from pole position the number 45 car of Alistair Camp that makes the best start. Number 16 Alice Hughes does not get away at all, I'm afraid to say, so it looks like it's David Allen in the white Fiesta that makes them into second place, and third I think looks to be the Daniel Lewis Saxo. As in the background you could see the stock hatch cars getting away. We'll have a look at those in just a moment. In fact, let's go on board now with Ryan Polly, number 36. He started alongside Phil Law on the front row of the grid. Now, what needs to happen here is that Paul Jarvis basically needs to win with fastest lap to take the championship. Pretty much any other results, and it goes to Ryan Polly. Polly in second at the moment, Jarvis behind him. Up ahead of both of them, though, is Phil Law, who's already had 3 race wins during the course of this season. So down towards the old hairpin they go. There's Jarvis, you can see, in third position. That's the black car with the green roof. He gets a good run, though, out of the old hairpin. He gets alongside Ryan Polly. And can he get through? We'll pick that battle up in a second as the leaders go through. Tom Bell now in the white Civic up into third position. And there's Adam Reed, number 67, the driver from Skegness in the BMW Compact. We go on board with number 39, William Hornsey, in his Peugeot 106. It's his first time out in the Royal Purple Hot Hatch Series, which from next year will have championship status. But for this year, it's just been for fun, effectively, no points awarded. And it's Alistair Camp, who's had a pretty strong season, that makes his way down towards the hairpin for the first time. Alan behind him, and then Tom Bell, who's switched to that Civic for this weekend rather than his normal Fiesta. He's been troubled with that all year. There's Mac McCarthy, and just behind Mac is the number 46 car of Leon Shepherd, the novice cross on the back. And a driver that's out of the race there is number 70, that's Will Hunt, the 18-year-old from Gainsborough in the ex-Terry Roughton car. I'm afraid to say it's been a short-lived race for him. Well, William Hornsey now in that Peugeot 106 has some stock hatch cars closing up on him, really. Mac McCarthy, that black Fiesta, just in the background, but you've got Law, Polly and Jarvis all disputing the stock hatch lead in the midst of all this. And it's Jarvis around the outside of Polly at Redgate, ends up going on the grass though. Polly back down on the inside. They've both had 4 wins during the course of this season. They've both had 11 podium finishes from 12 races. It's been really, really tight between the two of them, but Polly's had an extra second place, and that may well prove crucial in the final reckoning. Now Jarvis there with that grassy moment just dropped behind the Fiesta. That's one of the hot hatch cars that's really not in his race. And don't forget, Jarvis needs to get ahead not only of Ryan Polly, but also really of Phil Law as well, in order to stand a chance of taking the Stock Hatch Championship. I think his hope's probably slipping away a little bit now, and it'll be difficult to get past that Fiesta as well of Matt McCarthy. It runs in Class C of the Hot Hatch Series, and it will be quick in different parts of this Donington Park circuit. Actually, around the lap, I don't think there's too much to choose in the pace of the two of them. Probably Jarvis actually a little bit quicker, but probably where it matters, maybe Matt McCarthy, Dr. Evil as he's known, just will have the slight edge. It'll be hard for Jarvis to get through. Meanwhile, there's Polly, grandson of the great George Polly of short oval racing fame. Polly in his second season now of racing in stock hatch. Acquitted himself pretty well last year on his debut, and has had a good deal of success this year. But Phil Law, who did the double at Mallory Park, also had a race win at Cadwell Park, leads for the moment in the stock hatch part of the race. There are other battles going on as well down the order, including that one involving number 31, Craig Robertson. Rob Fagg is also involved, as is number 63, Ian Williamson. But back towards this battle, William Hornsey, who used to race in stock hatch, has been reeled in by Phil Law here. And Law, well, I was going to say about to make a move, but he goes very wide all over the grass and the dirt on Redgate Corner there, and that's just cost him a couple of car lengths. And Jarvis, you can see in the background, still not past that Fiesta. So, well, I think Paul Jarvis will be knowing now that the championship chances are very slim indeed. and he probably now needs to rely on a miracle on his part and some misfortune on the part of others. There's Alistair Camp, local man, sees the last lap board now. It's been a relatively quiet race for him, and indeed Tom Bell at the front of the hot hatch field. Alice Hughes, I'm afraid to say, has been in retirement. David Allen has dropped back to third position. Phil Law back with Hornsey now. Polly going with him as well, which will have a late twist here in this Demon Tweaks Yokohama Stock Cats Championship, which sadly down on numbers for this season, having had in excess of 100 registrations in past years, of course, but fashions have changed. Phil Law now attacking William Hornsey for outright track position. On board with Hornsey now, and there's Phil Law going through on the inside. Can Hornsey getting back on the exit? Will that 106 pull away better from the corners than the stock hatch car? It may well do. They're alongside one another now as they crest that hill and head to the Goddard's hairpin now. Hornsey's car all the way back in front, but Law has possession on the inside. He has position as well now because he goes through, and actually Polly sneaks through as well. As the door was left open for him there by Hornsey. So they now go on to their final lap of the race as well. Through the right-hander goes the leaders. Back on board we go with Ryan Polly, number 36. Making their way down through the trainer curves. Lost out again to Hornsey. Quite a distance behind Phil Law. But there is number 45, Alistair Camp, who takes the checkered flag. It's another win. He's had a pretty strong season, I would suggest. Not always had complete reliability in those Fiestas, but that's something I'm sure Tom Bell will be working on, and getting the gearbox in particular sorted over the winter months. Last knock-ins of the Stock Cats Championship battle as well here. It's Phil Law that's going to win, and barring something very strange going on at the final corner, Ryan Polly is going to take second place. Out of Goddard for the final time then, Phil Law goes through to take the checkered flag to win the Stock Cats race, but it's Ryan Polly, number 36, that is absolutely overjoyed to have taken second place, and with it, the 2016 Demon Tweaks Yokohama Stock Cats Championship title. Well, the overall results then show that Alistair Camp won by 4.3 seconds from Tom Bell, with David Allen in third position. Camp also got the fastest lap, 1:49.92. Bell winning his class, and in 8th place, Adam Reed won his Class C. Well, Phil Law finished 10th overall, winning the stock hatches. Ryan Polly 11th, Matt McCarthy 12th, Paul Jarvis down in 13th and 3rd of the stocks, ahead of Rob Fagg, Ian Williamson and Jordan Holmes, who rounded out the top 6.
Ryan, second within that race. More importantly, though, you are the Stock Hatch champion for 2016.
Yeah, I can't believe it yet. It's not quite sunk in.
I had to be a little bit careful in that race, of course, what went on, and trying to fight Phil and keeping ahead of Paul as well.
Yeah, I was trying to get past Phil Law, trying to keep Jarvis behind me and trying to work out points all at the same time, so it did get a bit confusing.
But in terms of this year for you, you must be delighted with what's gone on and the results you've had.
Well, yeah, it's been an eventful year, but it's turned out all right. I just want to say thank you to everyone for this year, because without them, we wouldn't be here now.
Ryan, you've done a great job. Well done.
Time now for the title decider in the Nankang MX5 Cup by 5 Club Racing. For Will Blackwell Chambers, the equation is pretty simple. If he finishes 18th or higher, he will be the champion, but he needs to finish. Lights go out, away we go. We're on board with the number 26 car of Jason Shatton from row 17 of this huge grid. 42 cars taking the start of this race. Looks like he's lost a few positions, I'm afraid to say, as the race gets underway. Down towards the first corner. At Redgate Corner they go. We've got to watch Jack Sycamore there, number 91, in the middle of the pack, and behind him his teammate number 29, Azam Bessel. Both had problems in race 1, both having to start from the back of the grid here. And Sycamore just needs to drive like crazy, really, to stand any chance now of taking the championship, and he's got to rely on problems for others. Down towards the old hairpin for the first time in this race. Beautiful day here at Donington, viewed from a rather unusual angle there. And it's Blackwell Chambers that has the lead then. He's ahead of Combuck, then it's Sam Smith in third place, so he's made a very good start. The grid for this race determined by the results of race number 1. There's Ben Short getting ahead of Jake Bailey now, then it's Roger Chesno and Sam Tatler. And then Sam Haggerty, I think, in the number 85 car. Down the exhibition straight towards the Fogarty S's. Top 2 then together. I'm sure with Comber having been working with Blackwell Chambers this weekend, he'll be very keen to avoid an incident between those two, which could cost Blackwell Chambers the championship. He's already had 2 non-finishes this season, and drivers can only drop their 2 worst scores at the end of the year, so a DNF would be disaster for his title hopes. Sam Smith in third, Ben Short 4th, Bailey 5th, Chesno 6th, Tatler 7th is the way of things. There's Scott Leach and Jack Sycamore in the middle of that pack as well, so he's made up a lot of ground on this first lap of the race. A great first lap from him, but as I suggest, with that suspension issue he had at the end of the first race, it's going to be too much now to ask for him to win the championship. Ben Short could still pick up the pieces, I think, from Will Blackwell Chambers. He was the champion last year, of course, but he too had his problems in race 1, as we go back on board with 26 Jason Chatton. It's a great mass of MX-5s here. Mark 1 1600cc cars running on these Nankang tyres. And it's a very low cost, affordable way to go racing, and lots of people do it, as you can see. Packed grids here at Donington. Blackwell Chambers now getting away in the lead of this race. The 21-year-old from Basingstoke, ahead of Leicestershire man Combuck. It's Short now up to third place by the looks of things. There's Sam Haggerty doing battle with Roger Chesno, 105. And then the 2 blue cars getting themselves together as well. That's Bailey, who was really happy with his podium in race 1, but he's lost a place there to Sam Tatler. Oh, and several cars off there, including one of the MCR cars, I think, and also number 34, which is Matt Tasker. He had a moment in race 1 as well, I think. Drives around the outside of the gravel trap. Out of Goddard's then. There you can see 29, Adam Bessel on the grass there as he seeks to recover. There's a bit of rubbing there as they try and go 2 or 3 wide on the way out of Goddard's. Everyone survives though. Oh, and someone there having a moment in the background and a moment in the foreground, and it was those 2 cars that were involved. And it's Bessel and the 185 of Gary Townsend, the rugby driver. He's beached in the gravel now. Did Bessel get away from that? I suspect, looking at that Townsend won't, and he's going to be out of the race at the start of lap 5. Jason Greatrex already a retirement. He's been a front runner at times and podium finisher at times during the course of the season. Notably at Anglesey, had 2 podiums in Wales. Ben Short there now ahead of Mike Comber in second position. Those 2 drivers had that coming together in the first race. They're pulling away now from 4th, 5th and 6th. Sam Smith's, I think his hopes now of the championship have disappeared. So it's going to be between Blackwell Chambers and Short, and Blackwell Chambers almost certainly. Short there about to lose a position to the man that has won 5 races during the course of the season, 4 of them in a row at Anglesey and Cadwell Park. Number 58, Mike Combuck, makes his way back up towards Goddard now, having sealed the place. Short will try and outbrake him there, but things going to the A1 plan for Will Blackwell Chambers, because there was a pull away from those 2. Great 3-way fight for 4th, and Sam Smith there is going to pounce. There's bumpers hanging off the car of Jake Bailey. He holds on to 4th though. Smith goes through to 5th. It's Tatler now down to 6th position. A huge scrap. No quarter asked or given, I think, in that particular battle. And it's just really good Mazda MX-5 racing. good speed carried through Fogarty's there. That's so important because it then just sets you up to be able to make the outbraking manoeuvre down into the Melbourne hairpin. Tatler's, he's got alongside Sam Smith. Can he convert this into 5th place? Got his nose in front, and I think he's just about going to be able to do it. But then, of course, it's a right-hand hairpin followed by a left-handed hairpin. If Smith had been able to stay alongside him, I think he'd have got 5th place back. But look at this battling now is bringing the number 81 car into the equation. That's Sebastian Fischer, Seb Fischer. He finished 6th in race 1. We go now on to the final lap of this race. So it's basically 4 cars now disputing 4th place. And actually, who's that in the background? It is, it's Jack Sycamore. There he is, number 91. He's up to 8th place now from the back of the grid. He started this race on row 18, 36th position. He's now up to 8th. He's had a wonderful drive. I'm sure it's been a lot of fun. He might not going to win the championship this year, but he'll certainly have enjoyed this final race of the season. As the outgoing champion, he's not going to have the number 1 on his car for very much longer, isn't Ben Short. That mantle will be handed over to Will Blackwell-Chambers unless there's an incident in the last few corners of this race. Blackwell-Chambers, he's been racing in MX-5s for a few seasons now, looking to notch his first title though, and it will be thoroughly deserved, I suggest. He's had more podiums than anybody else this year, 14 out of the 19 races that we've had this season. Next best on 11 I think is Sam Smith, although Smith hasn't had a victory this year. Through the Melbourne hairpin for the final time goes Will Blackwell-Chambers, climbing now back up the hill towards Goddard. Pulse will be racing, I would think, just needs to make sure that nothing goes wrong on the car. You can see him on the inset now. He's going to take the flag and win the Nankang MX5 Cup by 5 Club Racing, but down at the hairpin is a spin for Jake Bailey at the second to last corner. He's waved goodbye to 4th position there. Who is going to get that place though, as number 18 Jonathan Clements goes through. Up at the Goddard hairpin though, it is Jack Sycamore. I don't believe it. He's made up 4 places as a result of that, and he finishes 4th from 36th on the grid. Brilliant drive from Jack. It's going to be Seb Fischer that takes 5th, and Sam Smith finishes the season with a 6th place. But that win for Will Blackwell-Chambers, more than enough to guarantee him the title. Mike Comm having a very strong second half of the year. We didn't see him in the first half of the year. Ben Short takes 3rd, and Sycamore, that great drive to 4th, ahead of Fisher, Smith, Sam Tatler 7th, and Roger Chesno 8th. A bit further back, Ali Bray finished in 11th place in that one, ahead of Courtney Mills. Matthew Short 13th. The other Sam Smith also had to come from the back to take 14th position, with Scott Leach completing the top 15.
Will Blackwell-Chambers, well done indeed. You are the race winner, and more importantly, the 2016 champion.
Yeah, it's nice. Heck of a race that. Managed to put a little bit of a gap again. I think Comber caught up with Ben and stretched the gap, continued on going. Can't believe it. Absolutely brilliant. So happy.
You've done the job you needed to this weekend. Just get your head out there, get in front, hold everyone else off and take 2 wins. Yeah,
didn't expect the 2 wins bit, to be honest. Thought we'd just come here and kind of just circulate really. Do the best we could, but no, car's been absolutely fantastic. No, everything's on point, so happy with it.
Was it nice having Mike there as a kind of buffer?
I think Mike was doing his own race, to be honest. I mean, yeah, sure, it's nice that there's 2 blue cars, but other than that, I don't think there's much in it. I think Mike was probably the same pace as me, but of course, as soon as he had to start defending, he dropped off, and that just let me go a little bit.
Well, an awesome weekend, a great year, and well done on the championship.
Yeah, thanks very much. Hopefully back again next year.
Great stuff.
The final race for the Radical Owners Club Bikesports Championship, and Phil Knibb now just needs 5th position to wrap up the championship. He starts the race on pole position. Will Brown starts at the back of the grid, and we go on board with him now. There's quite a bit of creeping there. It was a long hold. He makes a good start and gets past the men ahead of him on the grid. That was John Watson and Mark Grayson, so a couple of places made up already. There's one car that did not get off the line. I'll pick up who that was in a moment. but there's one going wide there as well, and I think that's Jason Rishover, number 23, who also had dramas in race 1. So through the first few corners they go, and it's John Paul Ivy from the second row of the grid that's got into the lead of the race, the winner of race number 1, of course. We go back on board with Will Brown. I think that might be Doug Carter that is ahead of him at the moment. Doug, who started on row 5, Brown on row 8 of the grid, and Chris Preen it is ahead of him. So Brown trying to make up more places to stand any chance of taking the championship. He's got to win the race, get fastest lap as well ideally. He's got past Doug Carter there, so he's going the right way about it after those dramas in qualifying restricted him to just basically 1 lap. Now there's Phil Knibb in the Radical SR3. That's the car that's just gone down to 3rd position. He needs to finish 5th no matter what anybody else does, and it's Will Brown that's probably the main threat now to guarantee the championship. So it's John Paul Ivy leading, Richard Webb in 2nd, and now Joe Stables, who was a retirement from race 1, up into 3rd place. So Phil Knibb's dropped down to 4th now. He's got to be careful not to lose too many more positions here, as we see the number 84 car go through, which is Rob Gardner in the Spire. It's the only surviving Spire on the grid, with Richard Wise not taking part. Everything else is on Radical. Back on board with Will Brown as he makes up another position as he heads down towards Redgate Corner. So Brown has picked off several cars already here. I think that's then Adrian Reynard that's going to be the next target that we could just see heading down through the Craner curves. Yes, and there's Knibb, and there's Reynard, and then yes, it's Will Brown. So there's actually only 2 cars now between Brown and Knibb. Now if Phil Knibb can win this championship, it will be a remarkable story, because he's not actually won a race all season. He had a 3rd place finish in race 1. That was his 5th podium of the season. He's had 3 seconds and now 2 3rd place finishes. But he has been relatively consistent. There's been various other drivers that have dipped in and out of the championship, not having done all of the rounds. Certainly the top 2 drivers here are having their first race of the season. Joe Stables there has missed a couple of meetings because he's also had clashes with the Radical Championship as well, which he's also been contesting. Otherwise he would have been very much a threat, because he's won 3 times this season. Phil Cooper it was that won 4 races at the start of the year, but he's not been able to complete the season due to his autograss commitments. He's a front runner in autograss racing, so sadly we've not seen him contesting the full season. There's Stables, there is Knibb, and there's Reynard. So Knibb's still there in 4th at the moment. There's Chris Preen, Doug Carter, and the 7 car of Julian Griffiths, and a spin for Jason Rishover. That's his 2nd drama of this race already. Now Rishover again hasn't done all of the rounds, but he was a winner at Snetterton in round 6. Will Brown now has caught Adrian Reynard, you can see. Reynard in his Radical SR3, which he's done some work on himself. Of course, very experienced racing car designer Adrian Reynard, designing single-seaters for Formula Ford up to international level racing. But so he's going to lose a place here is Reynard, as Will Brown in that PR6, which is a smaller, more agile car, goes through on the inside. There's a number of classes in Bikesports. The 2 that are most well represented are classes A and B, and that's a capacity split. So the large capacity cars go into class A, and the smaller capacity cars go into class B. Brown in class B, Knibb for example is in class A. As is that man, number 1, Adrian Reynard. Wasn't actually the champion last year. He was 2 years ago, but managed to keep hold of that number because Tim Gray not defending his crown. There's the 85 car of Joe Stables, still running there, I think in 3rd position at the moment. There's Phil Knibb, and he's now got Will Brown with him. Now if Brown gets through, that will put Knibb to 5th position, and that's the position that will secure him the title, but he can't really afford to lose any more, just on the off chance that Will Brown can go through the field and take the win here. Brown has got through ahead of him now, so up to 4th place. Well, it's very good racing this. Reynard is the next driver through. Up towards Goddard's they go then. There is Stables. And through to end the lap, and actually looks like we might have lost Richard Webb in actual fact. So yes, Stables goes through in second. So everyone's shuffled up one place compared to where I thought they were. Will Brown now third, Phil Knibb fourth, Adrian Reynard fifth, and Chris Preen in sixth position. But he comes under threat now from Doug Carter. It's the PR6, the blue and orange car, going through on the inside of the SR3 RS of Chris Preen. And he makes that move stick. You can see Chris Preen with the yellow sticker with the black cross on it, showing he's a novice driver. But he did have a couple of wins at Rockingham in the last meeting. So he's shown he's no mug behind the wheel. Adrian Reynard getting a little bit agricultural there through McLean's. He's behind Phil Knibb, who's also done some races in road sports this season, I think, in the Mini. Still this battle rages on. It's between Chris Preen in number 11, Doug Carter in number 50, and the 7 car of Julian Griffiths. And it's Griffiths this time that ventures up the inside at Redgate Corner and gets the place away from Doug Carter, the man from Kendal in Cumbria, dropping down a position. He's done Bikesports for a few seasons now, RGB before that, and Rab Gardner having a scrap there with number 30 Mark Grayson as well for the minor placings. And John Paul Ivy spins at McLean's, off into the gravel he goes. He's stopped on the grass, but I would think that's probably race over for him. The car coming to a halt, so it's Joe Stables now, number 85, that takes the lead of the race. And that will mean, I think, that Will Brown is up to second place. Yes, John Paul Ivy now, the man from Wolverhampton, stepping out of his car. And his day is over, I'm afraid. So Joe Stables it now is then that's looking for his 4th victory of the season, and this would put him level in terms of race wins this year with Phil Cooper. As Adrian Reynard running on his own just at the moment. He's got Phil Knibb behind him, but probably about 10 car lengths behind him at the moment in that number 90 car. And the Truck Time Solutions entered vehicle. There's Will Brown then in second place, Reynard in third, and fourth is the champion-elect Phil Knibb. Through Hollywood they go. Now there's Reynard, and he is in trouble, I'm afraid. He's slow through the fogs. Yes, it looks like he's going to pull up and join the list of retirements, which is getting quite long now. We've lost Joe Stables as well, because he was our race leader, which means that Will Brown has gone into the lead of the race. And there is Will Brown making his way through in that Elite Motorsport Engineering run car, although team principal Eddie Ives not here this weekend, running the Ginettas down at Brands Hatch. And there's Phil Knibb in second place now. So it's been a race of attrition, this one. I think it's going to be Chris Preen, I think, up to third position. Yes, there he is. So down to the Melbourne hairpin for the final time goes the 0 car of Will Brown. He started 16th and last on the grid, but he charged through the field, and helped by quite a few retirements, it must be said, he is going to win the final race of the season. It will be his 2nd of the year, his 8th podium finish, and he's had a pretty good record, but he's not been as consistent as Phil Knibb. And Phil Knibb still to come through. Out of the Goddard hairpin he comes. He sees the checkered flag, and Phil Knibb has wrapped up the 2016 Radical Owners Club Bikesports Championship. Will Brown's victory margin in the end just under 12 seconds from Phil Knibb. Chris Preen another 5 seconds or so back in third position. Julian Griffiths, Doug Carter and Mark Grayson rounded out the top 6. Joe Stables setting the fastest lap of the race before his retirement, 1 minute 31.21, 98.28 miles per hour.
Will, we thought you did a grand job in race 1 from the back to second. Race 2, the back to first. Well done.
Yeah, I was pleased with it. We had to we had to make the most of it because the only way we were going to potentially win the championship was to be right at the front, I think. So that was the objective, and we got there. Yeah, so.
Certainly did, and Phil Nib, of course, knew what he had to do, so it was all kind of hanging on his balance.
Absolutely, yeah. He gave me a bit more of a wide berth, I think, this time, I suppose. But he's raced consistently and well all season, so congratulations to him.
Second place in the race, more importantly, though, the 2016 champion. Well done.
It's brilliant, thank you. Great race. I lost fourth gear halfway through the race, so I just had to make sure the car didn't stop altogether. But I knew I didn't have to finish that high up. I just had to keep it in one piece and watched Will go past and then Adrian go past, and he had a problem as well. It was brilliant. I repeated race 1 and got the championship, so that's all we could hope for. It's brilliant.
That's what you came here for today, and of course that's what you've done. It's been a very consistent season, and that is what a championship is all about, really.
Yeah, we tried. We've not made any stupid lunges and stupid choices, I think, through any of the races. We've settled to make sure we finish each race and get the points as much as we can. Not gone for wins where perhaps we could have got them, and it's paid off. It's brilliant.